it's been a journey, literally. To bring this book to market, I started the process in 2019 with a trip around the world. I started in Fiji. I decided, you know what? Nothing's happening quite for me, in America. Why don't I just go around the world? And I packed my suitcases and I started in Fiji and then went to New Zealand, Australia, and different places, Egypt, Dubai. And as I went around the world, I said, this is really taking a lot from me. It's taking me to get up every morning, lug the suitcases. And what am I really doing? I'm being resilient. Why? Because my passion was to see the world. And then I wondered, how many other women there are that would do this or have been resilient? And that's when I found these amazing women from all over. They were leaders of their tribes in Fiji or in New Zealand, travel ambassadors in Australia, queens in Egypt. I'm going, these are some really powerful people, including the president of my country, who was a lawyer, and she rose to be now president. And then in my own backyard, who's to say, I found these amazing women as well in America who had been doing wonderful things in their communities, in their businesses, making great strides. And I said, I got to interview them. I just have to interview them. And so they graciously agreed. And that's how the Art of Resilience book got written. So it was them being able not only to tell their stories, but also to channel who they were, the essence of who they are, through their poetry. And I don't know if any of them are joining today, but you might be hearing from some of them. My digital partner, Steve Piven, was gracious enough to put a little video together, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what I really wanted to do to start off with looking at what is resilience, right? What resilience is and what resilience is not. So if you think about it, what does it take? I mean, really take to come back from those guaranteed curveballs? And how many of you know, God, life will throw you some stuff, yeah? I tell you, it's thrown me a lot. But luckily, I've been able to come back time and time again. Why? Because of a few strategies I've used to be resilient. So you have to be able to deal with adversity and not miss a beat. Not as easy as you think, but that requires resilience. And resilience, said another way, is the ability to quickly spring back. Notice I say quickly. You don't want to stay down forever, but just quickly spring back from the difficulties caused by life. Now, you can do that, but truth be told, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. Am I correct? And if you let it, right, you can come back from anything that life's thrown you. But there are a few things that you would need to do. And I want to start by just sharing with you the 4 tenets of resilience. In my life, my journey has been a very long one. I lost my mom at 13. I had to learn how to be resilient. After that, I moved to a foreign country in America, completely different from Barbados, which is where I'm originally from. And I had to learn to be resilient too, because I didn't have a mom. I had to kind of fend for myself and figure out in a country that was not always as kind as I had imagined it to be. So in the process of my resilient journey, and I'll give you a very brief overview, I have been succumbed to horrible illness because I went to the dentist and got my wisdom tooth taken out, and I almost ended up paralyzed. And well, it's a long story. But in any case, what I had to do was to really find my faith. And I'm just sharing with you what had me be resilient. So that when you read the book, you can see that what makes these women resilient are similar themes. So I had to find my faith and say, okay, if I can't do what I was doing, what do I do next? And what came back to me, spirit-wise, is to write. If you can't do what you've been doing, write a book. Write a book. I don't even know the first thing about writing a book. But as I began to write, the words kept pouring out on the paper. And so I published my first book a long time ago. And I published a children's book as well. So I've been writing for a while. And that has helped me on my resilient journey. So I want to look now and to share with you the 4 tenets to being resilient. So the first one is purpose. You know why you're here and what you're here to do. It's critical that you know that. And some people have no idea what their purpose is. But when you think about your purpose, it's that thing that keeps nagging at you over and over and over again, and you can't shake it. So you want to begin to find your purpose. And then you want to get passionate about your purpose. Because when you start finding your purpose and you start pursuing it, you're going to come up against a lot of issues that you're going to get knocked down time and time again. And sometimes you're on the skinny branches by yourself, just doing everything by yourself. And it feels like, God, nobody's listening to me. Nobody, but then again, that's not true. So you have to really dig down and find your purpose, and then find your passion about your purpose. You see, being resilient is a matter of combining your inner self with your outer self. Let's look at your inner self. It's what you say to yourself over and over and over again. So when things happen, when you meet adversity, for most of these women in the book, they had a similar conversation in their heads. I can do it. I must do it. There's something greater that's calling me forward, that I need to fulfill that's bigger than myself. So therefore, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get up, rise up, find who I need to find or connect with, and keep it moving. And that's really how most of these women have been, resilient in their lives. The other piece of it is, so when you find your purpose, you become passionate about that. Because if you aren't your own cheerleader, honey, it ain't going to go well for you. So you got to cheer yourself on. Once you find your purpose and your passion, you want to then surround yourself with people who can help, like, rise you up as the phoenix that you know to be. The water cooler people, the naysayers, even if it's your family, there is no room for that when you are on your mission of being resilient. Because for every time you're going to move up, there's always somebody that will bring you down. You can't listen to them. So you want to surround yourself with people who are in a position to where you want to go. So my mom used to say, you need to soar with the eagles, don't hang with the turkeys. And I remember her saying that, right? So that's what has helped me to be resilient. And the other piece of it is to begin to think about to reinvent yourself. So the process doesn't start when you get there. The process starts now. My mom used to say, plan your life in decades and reinvent yourself every 5 years. And that's what I've done. I've done a lot in my life. And every single thing I've done has led me to this point right now with you here at Watkins Books, reading The Art of Resilience. So that's the third thing. And the fourth thing is, don't let anybody steal your joy. And that's what my mom told me. Now, I'm going to bring to you some of the women in the book who have just done amazing things. I just want to go through them very briefly, and let's look and see what made them resilient. So the first one is actually the president of our country, Dame Sandra Mason. She was a lawyer, And in her lifetime, I don't know if you remember, way back, there was a radio show called Portia Faces Life. That was her impetus for being resilient. So she actually learned how to be resilient from a character on a show that she listened to every single morning. So when you read her story, she takes you through the whole journey of how similar her life has been to Portia. But then she took it a step further, and she's now president of the Republic of Barbados. How cool is that? Yeah. And then the other stories are like, for example, the Queen of Egypt, who made herself a man in order to be queen, and who reigned for 25 years. If that isn't a bad system, I don't know what else, right? Other people in the book too are my mom, whom I really acknowledge. She was the first Barbadian social worker of her time, and she built the social welfare department from scratch. And her teachings and her legacy remains today. And then the other people in the book, like Mary Simmons, who worked at the United Nations. Her dream as a little girl was she wrote a letter when she was 10 years old, the United Nations, saying, I really want to work there. And then she rose up and became, one of the key players in the diaspora of Africa. So these are just some of the stories. But what is exciting are the poems that these ladies have written. And the poems really speak to the essence of the woman. So I'm going to bring up some of the poems that they have. And let's hear from some of the phoenixes in the book. And then I will give you an opportunity for you then to write your own poems. So at this point, just give me a minute and I will share my screen and bring this up. Oh, my own I am poem. Okay, let me bring that right up here. Okay, thank you for asking. Okay, so my own I am poem is, I am from flying fish, the sounds of the ocean, and the sight of the morning sun rising every single day. I am from bananas and plantains and cuckoo and saltfish. I am from, hey, how you doing? All right. And belong. These are expressions, Bajan expressions from Barbados that I've heard from childhood. I am from Hilton and Thelma Vaughan, and all the ancestors that came up from Africa before me. I am Dr. Joy Vaughan. That's my I am poem. Thank you. And very soon I'm going to be able to share the poem, the poems that that some of the people in the book have written. Okay. It's actually when I was teaching at Robert College, we had a program, and that program, I am poems were a way of having the students be very engaged in what they were doing. So that helped really for them. Once they start to write about themselves, they got to see everything that they were doing, and they got to see who they are. And it was absolutely beautiful to hear each one write a poem. And it was just amazing. So I've been using it very successfully in the book and with others. So I have found the video and I am going to, I believe, play it now.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. And these are some women in the book who have written their own I am poems. And what I want you to do as you listen to them is to really begin to get the essence of who they are. Okay, here we go.
Wahini means woman. So I am Wahini. I am from a land abundant in natural beauty, majestical, spiritual, haunting. I am made up of these things. I am from a culture steeped in mana, forged by the words kia kaha, sharing, connected, stoic. I am made up of these things.
This is Colleen DuPont. I am from the sun-drenched shores of South Florida, where barefoot children play. I am from avocado and coconut trees and kumquats, from spices of the island simmering through open windows. I am from God never gives us too much, but always enough. From family is everything, and love thy neighbor as thyself. I am from the Horkin and O'Dowd clans, with the grace and elegance of the South, and the Johnsons with the grounded earthiness of Kentucky farms. I am a blend of what is best in humanity. I am Colleen DuPont.
Yes, I'm the Phoenix from Guyana. I was born in the land of many waters, to a family of 4 sons and 7 daughters. In a country on the continent of South America, nestled between Brazil and Venezuela. My flavors are black cake, curry chicken, garlic pork, and ginger beer, and tropical fruits like mangoes, sapodillas, and cashew pears.
I am from enchanting Caribbean beaches, white sands and tropical peaks, music that moves your body to the sound of bass drums. Land of merengue, bachata and son, the land of tobacco, rum, green plantains and sugar canes. Most of all, the land of warm, happy people. I'm also from the land of ancestors, the land of Incas. I am from Middle Earth, from the Andes Mountains, where the beauty of its active volcanoes are breathtaking, and the luscious hot water springs from its wombs can heal your body and soul. So you see, I am a blend of breathtaking landscapes, race, cultures, and traditions. I am all of it, because all of it is who I am.
I am the tour guide for my legacies, Courtney, Kenzo, Imani, and Kyron. I am the sister girl who loves her successful sisters that carry the torch for their ancestors and legacies, but never forget that they, like me, are a woman first. You all know who you are, and I love you for that. I am from the ashes of Mother Earth, who birthed me to make a difference while I am blessed to be here. I know that one day I will return having finished my work. And when I'm done, those who remember my walk will say, she did, because she is forever and will be a woman of grace, virtue, and vice, but possessed love for all she encountered. I am Gail, mommy, Maja, wife, and friend.
Yes, mommy, wife, friend, entrepreneurs, poetess. So just to let you know who those women were, Erica Froggatt, she is a travel ambassador out of Australia and New Zealand. The next one was Colleen DuPont, and she is an entrepreneur and president of Les Franchises, and she resides in France. The next one is Sally Viliaba, and she's a business executive coach who represents the Hispanic diaspora. Brenda Richards is from Guyana, and she is a poetess who now lives in Brazil. And then, of course, is Gail Burks, president of CMA Enterprise Incorporated, and she is a business owner and an entrepreneur and an executive coach. So you can see that the women have come from very diverse backgrounds. And those are just a few of the women in the book, but they're the ones who contribute the essence of woman to the art of resilience, because we want to have people understand what made them resilient, their roots, their history, and what has kept them going, even if it's as simple as picking up a mango and eating it and remembering who you are. So the art of resilience, not an easy thing, but certainly doing it. And it is art form. It's getting up every single day and saying, I can do it. I must do it. I will do it. It's also keeping your purpose and passion alive. This is why I'm doing it. For me, it's legacy. I have two beautiful grandchildren who I want to leave something behind for them. So I dare not lie down and say I can't. I must say I can and I will. And that's what gets me up every single morning. I don't know what it is for you, but that's what gets me up every single morning. And also remember my mother's words, Joy. Plan your life in decades, reinvent yourself every 5 years. And more important, don't let anybody steal your joy. So some of the key things to the art of resilience. Close your eyes, get very quiet, and just ask, what am I here to do? And listen. That has worked for me, because I've hit rock bottom many, many times. But there is something that you have to have inside you that, look, you have a choice. You can either stay there or get up. If you stay there, you get very grounded in the alternatives. Okay, if I stay here at rock bottom, nothing's going to happen. I'll probably just leave this earth. Yeah. Do I really want to do that? Pick up the phone and call somebody who can empower you. That's what I do. I have Betsy's who empower me all the time, who are committed to not having me stay down. I call Steve, my digital partner, and he'll say, okay, we're going to get through this. So you have to have a cheerleader that you reach out to. I hope that helps, answers the question. The phoenix is a mythical bird, right? That dives into the ashes, right? But is able to burn off all the negativity and then rise again and become something new. I think that's really the epitome of resilience. Understanding to be able to go into the fire, because it's not easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but it's worth it. I'll repeat that again. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy, but it is worth it. And you've got to believe that it's worth it. See, another part of resilience is your belief system. If you believe you can, you will. If you believe you can't, you won't. And you're right either way. So choose positive or negative. If you choose you can, and you will, then you'll find people who will support you on that. If you say you can't and you won't, trust me, you find a lot of people who will support you on that too. Yes, she died when I was 13 and she was 43. That is the most resilient woman that I've ever been around. She was a chronic asthmatic who literally kept dying. Her heart would stop. And my dad, God, this is an amazing love story. I'm going to get emotional. My dad refused to let her go. And he would do whatever he could to revive her because he knew her work was not finished until it was finished. So I remember she was 43 and she had a horrible, like one of the worst asthmatic attacks. She had been an asthmatic since childhood. And what ended up happening is she went into hospital. And, I'm a child. Of course she's going to come back. But what she did was she actually in hospital was working. And she finished the last case that she was working on, handed it to her successor. And then at midnight, she went off, she transitioned. She was complete. And I don't know anybody else who has gone complete like that, because she was resilient up until the time where she knew her work was done here on earth. And then it was okay. It was really, really okay to go over. But she'd given me everything I need to do to move on. So I just take my lesson from her, and do I miss her? Absolutely. But she's always with me, and that's very comforting too on my resilient journey. I was looking for a woman from Egypt, right? And I interviewed some women from Egypt, but when I got back to the States, I could not find them, or we couldn't connect. And then our tour guide, who was amazing, he had told us about Queen Hatshepsut. And I said, you know what? This probably is the most amazing, resilient woman that I have ever read about. And when I read about her even more, and I think when we were in Egypt, they were working on excavating her tomb. So it was kind of very serendipitous that they were excavating her tomb. And here I am in Egypt in front of the pyramids, getting on a camel for the first time. Oh, Lord, don't even talk about that. That was probably, whew, that took all of my resilience. And then really discovering who she was as a woman and why she took control of the dynasty, because the men weren't doing their job. And she's like, enough of this. I'm going to take control. And she did. And she had to fight. Oh, God, did she fight? But her legacy lives on. So I chose her because 3,000 years ago, she laid the groundwork for Cleopatra and all the other queens, the Egyptian queens that have come after her. But nobody's writing about her. And I said, you know what? This woman deserves a place in history. She does have a place in history. But what I did with her story, I modernized it so that she's actually talking to you as a modern woman. But although she lived 3,000 years ago, I think that was one of the most exciting chapters that I wrote. She was a woman. What are you doing in our camp? And it's funny, but Dame Mason, she talks about being a woman among male lawyers and what that's like for her, just fighting that male energy in a time and an era when women should be seen and not heard. Like, why are you here? Go be in the kitchen somewhere. And she's like, no, I have a place. I have something to say. I have a purpose. And I will fulfill it. And I think that's the beauty of all the women in the book. They really are grounded in that they're here to do something bigger than themselves. They may not know what it is, they may not know how to go about it, but a lot of them are spirit-led to be able to be where they are. I wanted to point out, though, in the book, the story of Nassim, which is very, very interesting. And Nassim Bhatti represents one of the women who lost her resilience. Like, she actually was a housewife. That was her entire role. She was raised in a culture to be that. And she is now still finding her way back to being resilient. So resilience, as I said, is a journey. It's not a destination. And she's now beginning to find her way back to a purpose that she can feel fulfilled as a woman. I think that is really interesting. And you spoke earlier about people who, when you're at rock bottom. This gal was at rock bottom after her husband died, because all she knew was being a mother and a wife. That was it. Who is she now? Who is she now that her children are in a different country and adopting different cultures? And there are a lot of women who have left their homeland and have been in between two cultures and are wondering, like, who am I? But in that inquiry, you find who you are, and then you rise and you say, you know what? This is who I will become. So it's a great, great story, Nassim's story. Yes, if you put your phone and scan, it leads right to our Art of Resilience Phoenix's Rising page. And then you can interact with the Phoenixes, post comments. It's a Facebook group. That's where it leads to. And you can talk about the stories, interact with the women. We post things periodically, but we want to get your feedback, and then we help you to be able to rise yourself. So that's where the barcode leads to. And the questions before the barcode is, what kind of Phoenix do you want to be? And so if you answer that question in the Facebook group, it just sparks a lot of discussion, rich discussion for everyone involved. It's interesting that people say, well, they don't know, it's an inquiry that you have to really delve into. We're still waiting for people to answer that question realistically, or I'm on my way, or these are kind of questions, but we really would like people to answer those questions in the Facebook group as they read this, because the book is meant to be interactive. So resilience, as I said earlier, is a mindset. I am a neuroeducator, as you know, and what happens is I do a lot of brain and behavior coaching. So I take you through a process whereby we shift your mindset. I say one neuron at a time, but we really delve into, okay, what is stopping you from A, finding your purpose, and B, fulfilling it? Is it money? Some people earn a lot of money, but are horribly unhappy. Why are you tolerating that? And so we look at those kinds of issues. Where do you want to be? And then I and my team take you through a process as to how to actually get there. Now you have to pick a project so that you can actually see yourself being successful. And we do 90-day and 60-day boot camps. So in the boot camp, we work on your fears, we dismantle those fears or help you be able to manage them. We look at your, help you to manage your procrastination behaviors. A lot of people procrastinate because they're fearful. And then we move you on to something where you are at the end of 60 or 90 days, you're actually successful. So you can see yourself being successful. And once you can do it once, you can do it over and over and over again, because you now have the blueprint to do that. It certainly was. I was at a point in my life where I was going through hell, as that's what I would describe it. Not a great space. My young son was he was young. He's since transitioned. He transitioned 2 years ago, but he was a young child. And I was walking across the street with my then boss, and I felt like a tug, on my left arm. And the next thing you know, I'm in heaven. I'm going, now, this is really cool, right? Because I was sitting on a bench in this absolutely beautiful garden. with the flowers and flora and fauna that was like brilliant, the colors used, parallel here on Earth, but was so much brighter. And then there was a waterfall that was singing. I'm going, this is like beyond. I mean, this is amazing. And then a figure kind of like Christ came, and they were talking. He was talking to me and just having a conversation. And then the next thing you know, I'm flat on my back looking up, and there's these three huge angels. Their heads are about 6 feet tall, and they're peering down at me, and they're saying, you have to go back. And I'm going, no, I don't want to go back. Listen, it was so beautiful there. It was like the peace that passeth all understanding. I didn't want to go back, but they said, you have work to do. And I ended up opening my eyes, and I was on the gurney in the emergency room of the hospital, looking at my then husband and my son. And it changed my life, because I knew that had I left then or chosen to not come back, their lives would never be the same. And I wouldn't be sitting here speaking to you. But clearly, this was part of the resilient journey that I was meant to be on. One of the key thing, in my life today, when I speak about it, it's like I'm right there all over again. Again, as I said before, your purpose is something that nags you. It might be playing music, right? It might be traveling. Whatever, it might be writing. It might be, it's something that's bigger than you. But it's also something that you really enjoy. It's like your heartstone. It tugs at your heartstrings, and it's been there for a long time. And some people ignore it. But the ones who are resilient can actually turn their purpose into their passion, and then their passion into their being financially solvent. Now, let me go back a little bit. Most people don't follow their purpose because they're so caught up in money. And that's important. But what good is having a lot of money if you're not happy? When you're fulfilling your purpose, you have a joy and a happiness inside you that is unprecedented. Like, you don't really care because and I don't think things are difficult, but you don't care because you're pursuing something that's meaningful to you. How do you find your purpose? You ask, what am I here to do? And why am I here to do it? If you can just get very quiet in your spirit, and you can get a pen and paper, and you ask those questions, what am I here to do? And why am I here to do it? And if you can find the answers to that, it'll be right in front of your face, because you would have known that all along. Because it's your contribution to the world. That's what it is. And then you'll find people who will help you to fulfill that. It really isn't. Listen, you get up in the morning, you're successful. Some people don't get up in the morning. Some people can't get up in the morning. I think we have to rethink what success is. And success is what is important to you. Because I know a lot of successful people who are very, very wealthy, but yet they fail in being good husbands. They fail at being good mothers. They fail at being good wives. So they might be successful in one area of your life, but you're not successful in any other areas. And success is a balance, you determine what success is. Nobody else can do that. And I would offer that you should not allow anyone to define what success is for you. You define it for yourself and stay right there. Does that make sense? I asked, Like literally, I asked people, I said, when I went to Fiji, I said, I'd like to meet a female leader. Now, Fiji is very male-dominated leadership style. I said, are there any female leaders in Fiji? And I asked the lady at the reception desk. She said, you know what? My aunt, and this, my aunt is a leader in Nawaka village in Fiji. I said, do you think I could meet her? She said, well, why would you want to meet a woman? Why not the chief? I said, no, because I'm looking for a female leader. And within a day or so, they set it up. And off I went to Nawaka village, and I had to present some gifts to her, the traditional gifts of Fiji. And when I saw that lady, it's like we'd known each other for centuries. And we both started crying. It was just one of those moments. And then she told me about her life. And that's how that story came about. And so it was like that throughout the whole journey. Erica Froggatt, who was our travel ambassador, I said, Erica, I'm writing a book. I need to meet resilient women because I know just the person for you. And it was a tour guide for one of the places in New Zealand. She was from the Maori tribe. Now she has since passed on, but had I not told her story, her legacy would not have lived forever. Does that make sense? And so every single where I went, I just asked, I asked. And I found these people who, yeah, I'm in. I want my story told. I had no idea that the president of our country, Dame Mason, would have said yes. She didn't have to. She said, sure, I'll tell the story. And before you know it, I was recording what they said. And I had to go back and then translate everything that they said so that the whole book had a common theme to it. And look for quotes to put in that would actually support their journey. Marsha Feldman came through a friend of mine, and Marsha was unique. I had never heard of male PTSD. That's male postpartum PTSD. Whoa! It's the woman who's having the child, not the male. And yet there's a whole study now that's coming up of males who go into PTSD after seeing their babies born. And it caused a lot of havoc in the marriage. So that was a fascinating story for me. Woody Lassane, who is here in Miami, she owns a media company. Fascinating what she's done and produces and tells people stories. So it's people like that. And then others who came along with their poems. My aunt in New York, who was the first real estate mogul, who would tell stories of having to stay up all night with a shotgun to protect the blocks that were being stolen from her because of her. She was Black and they didn't want her in the neighborhood. And I could go on and on. It's like the elephant, one bite at a time, right? You have a huge problem and you say, okay, first, I always ask Spirit, what do you want me to tackle? Which part of this do you want me, or do you want me to tackle this at all? And then find me the people that I can connect with, that can help me move this forward. I'm going to give you an example. 2019, when I came to London, I went to a course called the Landmark Forum, and I was reviewing my advanced course there. And I said, I'm doing a book. I need to find a publisher. And this one guy said, he gave me Eaton's card at Watkins Meet. He said, call him. He may be able to help you. This was what, 4 years ago, right? And I called Eaton and he said, I'm not so sure, about the book. And, he was skeptical. I said, okay. But then I went and wrote it. Now, 3 or 4 years later, last year in June, I called Eden up and he says, I remember you. Yes, did you finish? I said, send me a copy. And I uploaded a copy, and here I am today speaking with you. So one of the things that you want to remember is things take time, but it's all in divine order. And you just have to be patient and wait for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you'll say women are from Venus, men are from Mars, right? I think that's what you can certainly use this book with men. Actually, I coach men as well, right? And they have read the book on resilience. And they found the stories to be inspirational because who they see is their mothers, their aunts, their wives, their daughters. And right now, there's a whole trend now with single men raising daughters. This is a great book for them as they get to see who they can now groom and inspire their daughters to be. And also how to live with I call them dragon slayers, because with wives who are empowering heads of corporations, CEOs, sometimes that's not so easy for a man to deal with. But if they can understand the journey and that it's not a threat, but actually an asset or a good thing for them, if they can shift their mindset to see it as a good thing that their wives, their girlfriends are doing, and get behind them instead of feeling jealous and being outcasted. And women, it's a balance too when you know your purpose and your dragon slaying. You can't just leave your man behind, right? No, you want to bring him along with the process. And together, then you become phoenixes and a force to be reckoned with. Yes. So you can find me at www.drjoycoaching.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well, and Facebook as well. Dr. Joy Coaching on Facebook and Dr. Joy Vaughan on LinkedIn. There are 2 LinkedIn sites. I would log into both of them and make sure that you're on the right one. I have exciting news. We have a great conference on resilience for businesses coming up that we're doing in conjunction with the Barbados government. As you know, I'm from Barbados. And it's looking at taking businesses from around the world to Barbados in October 7th to the 12th, for a conference on resilience. It's a business to business, B2B, and B2C conference where it's a think tank where we're looking to give you the tools to be resilient, particularly in the new technology of artificial intelligence, technology, and cybersecurity. 3 key things that all businesses need to know. And then to undergird that with some tools for business development. We have amazing speakers who are going to be coming in from around the world, who are heads of the corporations, have worked with governments around the world. Dr. Vaughan is one, Mary Curick is the other, who's now working with the Malawian government to strengthen the resilience in Malawi. We have technology experts like Laurie Rodriguez, who is head of the global technology movement in America. And so it's just been amazing, like what will be accomplished. So October 7th through the 12th, visit my Dr. Joy Coaching page and hit Summit, and you'll get all the information that you'll need there. So come on down to the Emerald Isle of Barbados. It's going to be amazing, fun, and you'll learn a lot. Yes, please do. Yes, and please connect with me. Email me. I want to hear. I want to hear from you as to what you think about it, what the read is, and how you are being resilient. Welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.